Wherever that is. Oh, there it is. There you go, good sir.
Okay, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm going to talk about our upcoming Ham Fest. This is the big one that we anticipate all year long. We had a little hiccup in the planning stage. Tim Bush had been the organizer past year or so, and he took a job other side of the state, and there was a vacuum. And that lightest person tends to get sucked into the vacuum. So meet your new Hamfest chairman. And I volunteered without kicking and screaming too much. Going back to my personal history, I was the Hamfest chairman for the Western Illinois Amateur Radio Club in Quincy, Illinois for many years, about 25 years ago, back when I was in my 30s. And can you imagine having a guy in his 30s running things? Gosh, all the things we could get done with somebody with that kind of energy. I'm not as fast, not as quick as I was back then, but I'm still as willing. So we have a Hamfest in the works. We made the big move a couple years ago from the Teamsters Hall out to the fairgrounds, coinciding with Dayton's move from the Hara Arena to the Greene County Fairground. And a lot of the same parallels and problems occurred between both groups. We got rained on pretty good at Lynn County Fairgrounds, as did the Greene County Fairgrounds. But with our second year there and some learning behind us, we are continuing on with very ambitious plans. Not as ambitious as last year, it's not the Midwest Convention, but nonetheless, we plan to make this one that's worth driving some distance for. We have lots of groups who are lined up to present and man tables. We've got lots of space for flea market and lots of good reasons to come out. Now, here's where I get on the soapbox and talk about why I am such a believer in Hamfests, why I'm doing this, why I know a lot of you guys do it too, but this is putting it into words why a Hamfest is important. I work with the Boy Scouts in Mount Vernon, and from that group we have, I believe, 12 total licensees. Working with the kids when they're young, bringing radio out to campouts and other events so they can see it in action, getting the interest there, and then thanks to Tim Bush's one-day license class, we get them licensed. So they emerge with Baofeng in hand and a big question mark, what on earth do I do now? And I suspect that this is the case with a lot of other graduates from this one-day class. They get their license, they get their radio, and now what do I do? Because you turn it on, and that radio may sit there for a month, and not a single sound will come out of it unless you know which frequency to tune it to and actually hear some nets going on and participate. But for a brand new technician who doesn't know any better, thinking that that HT is his only ham radio experience that he can expect, he will lose interest very quickly unless he is involved with the local ham community, which is why we as the radio club need to track down these kids, or not so young people, drag them kicking and screaming to field day so that they can grab that microphone and learn what it means to make a conversation, make a QSO, or get them out to field day and let them experience the wonder of vacuum tubes and copper wire and baby food jars full of old resistors. That's where the magic is. And socialization with us crusty old guys who can explain what all this does is where they learn the magic and become involved and become the 30-year-old who may take over for me next year as Hamfest chairman. So we want to have something to show off to new hams, to people in the community who are interested, to show off what our technology, what our stuff looks like, to get them interested in participating and becoming active members of our ham community. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's an awfully poor picture. But at the fairgrounds, we have a wonderful opportunity to make these demonstrations and show off our stuff. Largely, we're doing the same stuff as we did last year. There is the big main building in the center, and that will be all the tables, the indoor vendors, our test session, and our first forum room. The second forum room will be directly south of that. I believe it's called the Garden Building. It's fairly well ventilated. It won't be totally roasting. And we had forums there last year, so it should be a pretty good venue for that. And all the gravel around that main building will be flea market area. So it will be much closer in than we had last year, where things were down close to the track in that area. So for people walking around looking for stuff to buy out of trunks and tailgates, that will be a much better deal. Handicap parking will be directly north of the main building. Something new is the Farm Bureau building, which is right here. And we will have our Make It, Take It builder session in there. It is a wide open, there's no sidewalls on that building, so there's going to be lots of light, some good ventilation. Any breeze that comes through will help keep that cool. And I've been told there is a power outlet there. Cross fingers, we'll be able to find it and run the soldering irons. And if not, we're going to be scrambling to find an alternative power source. We'll have room for camping, plenty of parking, and as before, the 4-H group will be providing food. As I am active in a lot of other ham radio events, some which I recommend are Ozark Con down in Branson, Missouri, FDIM, the 4 days in May coinciding with the Dayton Ham Fest. One of the draws for those events is the forums. There are a host of people in our group who have such knowledge and the ability to tell a good story, and we're going to count upon them to get up, give presentations, and give our new people a reason to come out and learn some things. So going through our list of forum speakers, Steve White is going to be talking about So You Got Your License, a presentation devoted especially to these new licensees who are holding onto their bowfangs and wondering what to do next. Steve will tell them what to do next. And hopefully it will be buy stuff from the guys with the tailgates open. Following that, Tim Snodgrass is going to be talking about new research with ferrite loop antennas, a little more on the technical side, very interesting nonetheless. Bill and Elizabeth will be talking about 10 gigahertz contesting. Following that, the Mount Vernon Boy Scouts will be talking about radio scouting and the fun things that we've been doing over the past year. Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB from Nebraska, is going to be giving a kit building forum presentation. Joe is coming out here specifically to host and teach the kit building exercises that we will be having, and taking a break for that. He is kits editor for CQ Magazine. His column is excellent. Following that, we have a homebrew show and tell from Barry Bulow, who will be inviting people from our community to show off the projects that they've done over the past year. Now, simultaneous with that, on Saturday, we have presentations from the IEEE, ARRL, ARES, presentation on DMR, presentations on EMC and grounding, and a presentation from the Quarter Century Wireless Association, all of which will be good and entertaining, but maybe not of interest to the younger people. So That will be a parallel track where guys with a little more grade may find that interesting. We have presentations Sunday, a parallel track. Jeff Woods will be talking about his experience with beverage antennas in long wave reception. We'll have a presentation on SDR from Dave Graham. No, he'll be doing the Arduino interface of the ham rigs, and Marty Wittrock will be doing the SDR presentation. Parallel with that, there will be a presentation from the Steam On group. This is an organization here in Cedar Rapids. It's a high school kid. He started his own foundation. His name is Peter King. You may have seen Camp, thank you. He had a table full of wonderful technology gadgets at last year's fest, and he will be talking about his experiences with this. Right now he is running technology summer camps. And for a kid who is not yet driving, he's somebody to watch. He's got a lot of ambition and a lot of skills, and I'd like everybody to make him feel welcome and try to convince him that he needs to get his license. And then finally after that, I'll be giving a presentation called The Final Reflection. Some of you may have seen that at the Ham Radio COP up on C Avenue, talking about the conflict between Warren Bruning and Walt Maxwell on transmission lines, antennas, VSWR, and all that. And if that doesn't get you all riled up, I don't know what will. As I mentioned before, we have a Make It, Take It activity that's going on with 3 separate kits that are available to be built. First of which is a very popular 4-states kit. It's a code practice oscillator. It's self-contained with the battery mounted on the board, a Morse code key included. On the bottom side of the board is the complete Morse code chart, so that you can look that up and learn that. We've sold about 300 of these, and they're very popular with scout groups, 4-H groups,